So let's start now. So it's our agenda today. We will of course, each time we have some reminders and we show you where we are. We will share maybe some topics by the cities, and I check if we have here Chad or I see Hendrik is here, and maybe Chad. So we will start first with Chad and Hendrik introducing themselves. Hey, Hendrik. Maybe Chad is with you. I don't know.
No, he's
okay.
Fortunately not. I don't see him. What do you want me to do, Alban?
I just so for everybody to introduce yourself. So we are very keen. We are very glad to have Chad and Hendrik. So two engineers from Veolia, specialized in the water management and waste management also. You, Hendrik, are more in the mechanics. It's very interesting to just to introduce yourself.
Okay, no problem.
And tell us more about you, because you will be, as we see here in the coach team, you will be supporting during the prototyping, mostly on the prototyping.
Yes.
The entrepreneurs. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alban. Yes, obviously very excited to be a part of this. I'm from Veolia. I'm the mechanical lead here in Sabenza.
If you have your video, it would be great to see you.
To see your face.
If you have enough connection.
Problem. Yes. Let me just get everything sorted here quickly. Give me a chance, guys. Oi! I don't know if you can see me.
No, but it's okay. It's still.
Maybe the connection is not.
No, it's
the
okay.
best.
Don't worry. It's okay.
Sorry, guys, but I'm beautiful. Don't worry about it. Yes, obviously I'm here at like Alban said, I'm in water. I have about 10 years experience, mainly structural type of engineering. Obviously responsible for the mechanical designs on the equipment, making sure that we adhere to all the standards, and checking that everything is working from a mechanical point of view. Also, I will assist with regards to pump selection, calculating pressure heads, all your basic things. That's my sort of claim to fame here. So yeah, if your projects are in the line of that, I'm more than willing to assist if you have any structural or that type of questions. Hope that was short and sweet enough, Alban.
Yes, sure. And maybe entrepreneurs, coaches, if you have some questions for Hendrik.
Please, fire away.
I think it can be, because Hendrik and Chad and also maybe other experts from Veolia, they will come back to us in about 1 month to share some time trends. We call them the time trends in the 6 paths. Jason introduced to you. It's about what is coming from the future, and especially Hendrik and Chad will share about techniques, technologies for waste management, water management.
Yes, definitely. Perhaps Chad is not here, but just a quick background. Chad obviously is a chemical, in the chemical side. He's a process engineer. So I would think if for some of the guys that's got water projects, he might be your man to assist with calculations and questions you might have with regards to that. So yeah, just a quick introduction for Chad. You must just understand it's obviously in December, so we're chasing projects and tying up loose ends before we sort of close down. So I think he's perhaps just busy at this moment. But yeah, I've got a little bit of gap, so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's very good to have you. Do you have some question for Hendrik about his profile and chat profile also, if you are curious about them, about Veolia, about their expertise. Yeah, open your mic and you can ask any question, of course, Hendrik.
Hi, Alban.
Hi.
Hi, Chad. If I may ask.
It's Hendrik here. Chad will connect maybe later.
Oh yeah, my bad. So I just it's not my question has nothing to do maybe with your profile per se, but we have chosen the project parameter of housing, right? We're looking at the housing problem in South Africa. So I just wanted to find out from you, you probably know from previous experiences, how much does the waste processing or the waste side of housing, how much does that influence the pricing in housing?
So it's IMPO, ne?
Yes, it's important.
IMPO. That's actually it's a good question. But unfortunately, I won't have the answer. I think Chad would be more geared to answer your question. But what I have out of experience, and I know friends of mine are building houses as well, is that sort of an expensive side of things, because obviously, if I understood your question correctly, you need to sort of now hook up your stuff to the municipality. Obviously, money is not the only problem. It's also
regulation as well.
Yes, not that the expertise within the municipalities, stuff like that. So that's usually a very long lead item, an expensive item to do. So if we can sort of streamline that would be immensely helpful if you want to sort of incorporate that into your project. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, a bit you did. Thanks.
Okay, no problem.
Some open question for Hendrik, so you could have. Feel free to ask. It can maybe give you some support, some perspective in your project, or maybe to be more confident about your strategic canvas. I don't know. Because
what I can do is what I'm currently, perhaps if I tell the guys what I'm working on now, that can sort of
good idea.
At this moment in time, we sort of we're completing tenders for clients, and I'm actually at the moment doing some calculations with regards to anaerobic digesters, just checking plate thicknesses on the inside. Obviously, we want to do some value engineering. Instead of using a 10 mil thick plate, we must see if we can get away with like a 4 mil or a 5 mil plate, which obviously then has an direct impact on costing. Not only that, it's also easier to manufacture. That's something I would do. On top of that, I'm sort of designing a roof structure for one of our clients. So out of a structural point of view, obviously, again, some value engineering, not over designing things, obviously because we want to save some money, but obviously we need to keep standards in mind, because we don't want to, obviously we need to keep standards in mind. I mean, they're there for a reason, and we need to make sure that we adhere to them. So that's, if you would like, my day-to-day type of responsibilities. As the challenges arise, I would then obviously sit down, do the calc, and make sure that we fall in line, and then obviously keep the project or the financial guys happy for not over designing things, because if we can save a bit of money, that's also important. So yeah, let's call it my day-to-day. If I come to the office, that's what I do. So perhaps that can guide you with some of your questions, some of your projects that you're working on.
Yeah, I see Tumeleng has raised his hand. Tumeleng working on the agriculture project.
Yes, go for it.
Yeah.
Some question.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Hendrik. Thanks so much for your time and sharing with us your expertise. I sort of got an idea now, just when we were talking about how you're designing these rooftop structures. So the past two sessions, we've heard from like commitment from the city of Tshwane and also city of Johannesburg that they are sort of looking into designing these urban agriculture systems on rooftops. And part of our project is also looking into how we can revolutionize, urban agriculture by using our products, but also thinking about, I think my question to you is that how would we then, would it be such would there be a cost-effective way of designing an irrigation system for like a rooftop garden or a living wall? Is that something that you guys can help us with?
Definitely. Tumeleng, off the bat, obviously, if you need to look at your structure, making sure you're sort of designing it efficiently. And what I mean by efficiently is obviously you need to look at specific materials. Rooftop gardens obviously need to take loading into consideration. Obviously, I'm not an expert, but I mean that the principles with regards to design is the same. If you're working with water, if you're working with people, you just give me the loads and I design according to it. I think the one thing we must just keep in mind is typically standards with regards to these things. Is there a standard for the type of thing you're doing? And what I mean by that is a quick example is, for instance, here we don't have a sand standard for sort of water loading. Well, not that I'm aware of, but in my previous experience, I had to work with DIN German standards, and they've got a nice standard with regards to water loading. So I would just implement the standard, and everywhere I can use sense to sort of guide me, I would incorporate that. So I would sort of use different standards from all over the world. Obviously, I would then incorporate this onto a calc sheet, and where I would just go into sort of a short explanation as to why I'm using the standard, why I'm using the DIN standard for this specific situation. If need be, sometimes the client would ask for a design report. In that case, we would then sort of have to give pretty pictures, and pretty pictures sell, in my environment at least. Then we would incorporate stress analysis programs to just justify that whatever we're saying on the calc sheets, our calculations sort of tie up with the stresses and strains we are displaying on the stress analysis side of things, if you want to now show pretty pictures. But to come back to your question, yeah, you can sort of look at the exotic materials, and what I mean by that is plastics. You can look at that profile of steel. What I mean by that is IBR profiles, like your roofs, what type of loading they would handle, and then obviously your support structure that must carry these things. We can look at that. Instead of working with I-beams and heavy steel, you can maybe look at angle iron, and if welding is an issue, you can get away with bolting, because that will be then simpler to assemble on site, for instance. So if you don't have the welding capability, you can do a quick bolt check and see that your bolting is correct. So that's just off the bat, but obviously I would need more information to sort of make a better estimate. But that's what I would suggest. I hope it answers your question, Tumeleng.
Yes, thank you, Hendrik. I think one sort of secondary question to that was that, so one of the things that came up through the previous two sessions when we were working on sort of conceiving our project and our ideas is that in a lot of ways, these solutions that we're providing are not yet implemented either in South Africa, or there isn't really a standard. So I guess in that way, like, would you guys have a path for us that we can follow on how we could implement, for instance, something that's been done, let's say in Singapore or in another country that we could implement here where there aren't any standards as of yet? Thanks.
Good question again. Like I mentioned, for instance, now with the water loading, there isn't really a proper standard, in my opinion, in South Africa. So you would also do some literature study as well. And what we've picked up from experience that the Germans or even the guys in Holland, because obviously they live below the water line, so they would be the best people to ask for water engineering type of things. But you would find typically in places where these things are common, that the government or some other engineering body would have some sort of a standard in place. You don't want guys doing just what the hell they want, and obviously things breaking and stuff like that. So I would sort of start my research and check which countries these are sort of par for the course, if you understand, and then just see what they do. I wouldn't say copy, but why would you re-engineer the wheel if you can just see what other guys are doing and implement it as well? So you need to be smart about it as well. But obviously, we in South Africa, we have our own struggles, not struggles, but our own challenges. So, and just obviously keep that in the back of our minds once we sort of start moving from a concept phase to a design phase where something needs to be manufactured. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, cool. It does. Thank you so much.
Cool, man.
Hi, Hendrik. Can I also ask something?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Fire away.
My name is Matuke Paladi. We are in housing industry. So we were looking into getting more affordable housing for our community members. But now we have this challenge identifying right material which will be cost effective, at the same time not compromising the quality of the housing. So the material, what kind of material would you say might be, if it's, I don't know if that's your area of expertise, but what would be your advice? Thank you.
Matoke, yeah, that's like the $1 million question, isn't it? They are doing it cheap, but doing it, getting the quality right. It's not really my expertise. We've got some civil guys here in the office. It wouldn't be a problem just to get their opinion, but it's difficult. I'm not too sure what's sort of your concept, if you don't mind me asking. What are you thinking of doing?
So we want to enter into a housing industry to support, to provide housing to people who can't afford the RDP provided by the government. At the same time, not be able to afford for the bond, because with RDP, I think to get an RDP you must be earning below 3,500. But with the bond, maybe 10 grand upwards. So there's that part there in between where people to afford either. So we want to challenge that market, or to also bridge that gap by providing those affordable housing for the people. But the quality must also be at the right standard.
Yes, definitely. Look, yeah, like I said, it's not really my expertise, but what I can out of the first and perhaps what I spoke to Maleng would be to just do some studies with regards to what material you can get away with. Now I know there's some nice innovative things happening at the moment where they sort of turn plastic into bricks. So then you're sort of doing the waste management and building houses. You're sort of killing two birds with one stone type of. But again, I'm not aware of a company in South Africa that does that. So that's something we can look at.
Yeah, I can maybe help on that. I know some companies doing that. Some bricks from waste. They took waste and they use special glue or coatings or things like that, and they mix that to make very resistant bricks to be used in the construction. Yeah, we can fuel with some contacts on that also. If you want.
That's definitely something to look at. In terms of the roof structure, there are many ways to skin a cat. I think now you sort of the matter of wood. So again, it's something we can invest and look at. But obviously, research needs to be done to sort of see what options, and Alban can perhaps put you into contact with one of these companies. Sorry, and they can also guide you. But I've seen that, and it's something I would have thought our government would have looked at by now. Is turning waste into building material, or at least the bricks.
So really trend that. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know if that answers your question, Matoke.
Yeah, no, definitely it does, man. Thank you so much, Hendrik, and thank you, Alvin. We'll appreciate those contacts.
Itumeleng, you sort of typed your drip irrigation systems. Well, okay, so I follow. Unfortunately not, but like everything in life, I'm sure there's literature and stuff we can read on and get to grips. Again, obviously, if you're gonna have a drip irrigation system, again, obviously we need to look at loadings and just see that we're not sort of running into problems with regards to that. But again, if we can get a standard or see what other countries are doing, we can just, I wouldn't say copy them directly, but just sort of implement whatever they did and challenge and see what challenges they had, and just sort of incorporate it into our type of scenario and socioeconomic sort of environment. So I don't think it would be too difficult to sort of see what they do in terms of drip irrigation systems.
We have also Bemi raising your hand. Yeah, Bemi, if you want to ask a question. It will be maybe the last one. And don't worry, Hendrik and his colleague Chad will come back for a full session on around the 24th or 25th of December. Sorry, it's where? For the ideation. Yeah, Bemi, if you can ask your question.
Bemi, please go. Shoot.
Sure. Thanks. I have, I'm sure you guys can hear me. I have two questions. The first just being around, Viola's energy department. And I'd like you to maybe just chat through some of the problems you guys are solving there. If you have an idea on maybe just around energy management and how you guys are going about providing solutions in that sector. And then my second question is, has there been any pilot projects that you guys have taken and sort of deployed full scale into certain municipalities or certain environments, and exactly how you guys went about that? Thank you.
Okay, no problem, Bemi. I can answer you on both, and unfortunately you won't like it. I think Chad would be best to answer this because he sits at the business development side of things as well. So you would have definitely some answers with regards to specific projects that we've worked on. I'm more on the wastewater side of things, not energy as per se, but typically we did some projects for guest lodges where we turned their wastewater into water they can use for irrigation and stuff like that. But out of an energy point of view, I think Chad unfortunately would be the best to answer it because, like I said, he's part of the small business development side of things as well. So he would definitely have some answers there.
Maybe you can share this question with Chad, and maybe you can connect when you want at one of our next session.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it can maybe answer like you do it now to this question.
Maybe for Bemi, I'm still thinking, but no, Chad would be best suited. he knows the guys and he talks to the clients. He will be best. Sorry, Bemi.
Not a problem. And then for the second question,
pilot project. Like I mentioned, the only again not energy related was these guest lodges because it's very remote, and obviously we need to assist these guys with their water because obviously if those guest lodges don't get rain, they sit with the problem because then they can't sort of help their clients. So we had to come up with a solution. We engaged with our pump suppliers to sort of give us like solutions for specific pumps in remote locations. You want something that can work 24/7 with little maintenance, or as little maintenance as possible. Obviously, we've learned a lot of lessons in regards to that. So if we need to move this to like a bigger sort of project or scenario, we would have some experience with what we picked up in these small little pilot projects. Obviously, it's done with the help of the client. Obviously, they want they let's call it mini plants to be able to do certain things, and it also changes from guest lodge to guest lodge. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, Bami.
Not entirely. I think I just wanted more, how you guys managed to move it from dev into production, and getting buy-in across the clients as well, or the different users.
We haven't we haven't really moved these little call it small projects to something big. Usually the big projects, I don't know of a scenario where that has happened. Usually the big projects are sort of thinking now of things we did in Ghana and Eritrea, if I hope I pronounced that correctly, where we sort of that's big desalination plants, but we haven't really had a question or a scenario that would where a pilot project would lead to a bigger project as of yet. So yeah, but I think perhaps as well, Chad might have a better answer or a better explanation, because he is on the business development side of things, and I'm sure he's had these type of questions in the past. So perhaps in the next session, if he's available, Bami, I would implore you to ask him the same question. Definitely, he might have better answers, or even some examples of things that has happened. The reason for that is sometimes sometimes the question would come from the client, and we would see it's a standard Veolia product we can supply to the client. So then it's sort of out of my scope. I really get involved with the special things where we need a bespoke sort of solution. So, but definitely he's the guy that would answer your question. So I would definitely implore you to ask him the same question you asked me.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Hendrik.
No problem, Bami.
Thanks a lot, Hendrik. So for sure, Chad will join us at the next station, I'm sure. But it's already very, I think, very practical and very clear and interesting to have you answering first question. As I said, Chad and Hendrik, both of you will be joining us on the session on the 24th or 25th of January. So after the exploration, when all the entrepreneurs will be in the ideation process to find new ideas, and they will need your support at this time to see what is coming in terms of new technologies, new processes, new things from in terms of time trends. We call them time trends. And of course, when the project will be ready, the offering will be built and the strategy clear, of course, to support them in the prototyping, in the feasibility as engineers.
Yes. Before I go, just for the people that do have sort of structural elements to the designs or concepts, if you can just perhaps do some homework with regards to your standards. It's something that usually comes back to bite us because people aren't really aware. And then you would design something or come up with something and say, oh no, we didn't incorporate this or we didn't incorporate that. So yeah, if you've got a bit of time, just Google search, see if there is standards with regards to your projects. That's the only tip I would give at this stage. It's nice to know the information at the start before you go down a rabbit hole and you see, oh no.
But maybe,
and then you need to sort of start from the beginning.
as you know, the entrepreneurs know the group will enter the exploration, and this exploration it's all about finding hidden values, hidden issues, key issues the non-customers have. So it's really hidden because it's non-customers for the industry.
Exactly.
And maybe after this exploration, they will be more clear to them about what they need to propose and what they should not. And it's all about that. And maybe at this step, I propose they will be ready to list exactly in terms of design what would be clearly their project. For now, it's not yet totally clear, especially for some of them. Some of them have already some ideas, so that's why. But maybe these ideas will change during this exploration process. So,
100%.
So great! It was very nice to have you, Hendrik. Thanks a lot for your support, and we are very keen and very happy to meet you very soon in about 1 month for a full session
100%.
with a full insight from you and Chad and Veolia's team. So thanks a lot, Hendrik.
It's a pleasure. Good luck to everybody.
Thanks. See you soon. Have a nice day.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Same to you.
Bye-bye. Bye, Hendrik.
Bye.
So thanks a lot. It was very great. You see what an engineer, only one engineer can bring. So imagine if there are 2, 3, 4, 5. So I will here share my screen again, just to. So, of course, and don't worry, they will come back at the right moment. These engineers from Veolia, they are very professional, very interesting, and they are very also open to what is coming in the world, because Veolia, as you know, is a very big company, and because of that, it's connected to any country, and they see what is happening abroad. Anywhere on the world. So yeah, I start again here. And of course, so as I said, they will come back on the 24th, on the 25th of January, after your exploration is finished and analyzed, to fuel you with time trends, and especially on technology for waste management and water management. Okay, so I share my screen here. Yeah. Empo, you are raising your hand. You have a question? Yeah.
Yes, Alban. Just on the session that we just had with Hendrik, do you think maybe for the next interaction we should compile these questions and then send
it's a
them
good
to
idea.
them, so that they can better prepare?
Yeah. It was just an introduction today, and just as I said, it's not yet the right moment to have discussions with an engineer, but it's good that you know they are here, they will support you, because for now your project will evolve too much to have this consideration, this question right now. But later, as I said, in about 1 month, you will be more clear about your ideas, your strategy, and the offering you want to propose on the industry. So after the exploration, yeah, you will. But for now, don't worry about this feasibility design things. It will be more relevant to have this question in 1 month. And in 1 month, yeah, to prepare this session we'll have with them, you can list a question you could have about feasibility, about design.
100%. Thanks.
Okay. Chad. We have Chad as just connecting. Right. I see Chad from Veolia, the second engineer we have in the team. Hi, Chad. I saw you on the. If you are available, you can also introduce yourself, just like Hendrik did. I don't know if you can hear us. So Chad, feel free to interrupt, to introduce yourself. So here is our agenda today. Some reminders and where we are. And Chad, do you hear us? No. I see you are connected. So here, of course, you remember these non-customers for your industry. You have already listed and profiling. You have already, some of you started to profile them. It's very key to have a very clear and full list of profile, because the next step now for all of you will be to explore, to get interviews, to conduct interviews with this profile. So I remember, yes, this example we have introduced to you, Jason has introduced to you, but the we, this non-explored, this anti, this to be. So each time it circles, you are going more and more far away from the current customers. To be there, for instance, in the video gaming industry, these men becoming father, parents, so they play less and less, but they're still a little customer sometimes. Second circle, they are against. There are all these education people, these professors, teachers, or parents, or sporty teenagers. They are against. They think at this time in 2006, before the Wii, they thought video gaming and sport and healthy way of life, it's the opposite. So they are against. And the unexplored, it's all this at this time in 2006, women, old people, children, senior, they were never playing video games. They were never considered as potential customer users of this industry, and by the industry actors. Chad, if you can hear us, please let us know if you are available.
Good morning,
hi, Chad. Yes, you can open your video if you want.
Apologies for joining a bit late. I just had
it's okay.
forecasted meetings to attend.
Oh, sure. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning all. Hoping you are well. My name is Chad Lawrence. I'm dialing in from Veolia, Services Southern South Africa. And I currently serve in the capacity as a business development manager. Currently focused in the food and beverage and middle market, as well as heavy industry.
You also have skills in the chemistry, chemical engineering.
That's correct. Yes, my background is primarily in chemical engineering. That's in terms of my studies, but I have quite a diverse work experience in terms of the industries that I network within. So I'm really excited to be part of the Blue Oceans program and looking forward to meeting the candidates respectively. Yeah,
exactly. And like we said, you will have a full session. We'll have a full session with you and Hendrik on the 24th or the 25th of January after the exploration to fuel the entrepreneurs with time trends, especially in new technologies coming in this industry. And also after the full Blue Ocean strategy journey, you will be able to support the project in their prototyping feasibility.
Great news. Looking forward to it, Yalvan.
Do we have some questions or comments, or I don't know, some you want to share with Chad, maybe as is here? Yeah, Bami, you raise your hand. So.
Hi, Chad. Thanks for coming through. I was just asking Hendrik right now around just the sort of projects you guys are doing in the energy and energy management space. I know you said you're more in the food industry or food department. I don't exactly know, but just around energy and energy management, do you have any idea about what sort of projects you guys are doing there, firstly? And then secondly, are there any pilot projects that you guys have taken from ideation moved into productions and is currently being used by users, perhaps in the municipality at scale? Yeah, so those are my two questions. Thank you.
Good morning, Bami. It's a really good question you posted, particularly if you look at the energy crisis and the lack of energy management within the South African sphere. I'm sure you're well acquainted with the fact that we'll be dealing with ample issues around energy supply. So to answer your question more specifically, and I'll give you more of a generic answer pertaining to Veolia in specific with regards to energy management. So we basically look at basically conducting gap analysis on customers' forms of processing equipment. So normally within the food and bev middle market, as well as the heavy industry, you have these large equipment or large facilities that generate a substantial amount of energy. For example, compressors, chillers, refrigeration circuits, to name a few. So we basically go in conjunction with our energy experts, we conduct a gap analysis, and we basically compare current operations to design or best practice specification. And we implement various control tools and energy management tools via our technology, such as our complex systems, well, not that complex systems per se. We have quite detailed and concise energy management tools that will basically allow our customers to identify where they're having large spikes in energy consumption, for example. And we can basically conduct a gap analysis and basically narrow that margin, therefore presenting a savings to our customers. So in terms of, I think your second question was related with regards to case references. We have ample case references from a global as well as African perspectives. So I'd be more than happy to share that with you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, do you want to share it via email, or do you want to share it right now over this call?
I think I'll share it via email. I'll send all that reference information to Alban, and Alban can distribute accordingly.
Sure. Mm. So a last question for Chad, maybe a little more generic, just to, and of course we don't worry, they will come back with Hendrik.
We have a question, Alban.
Yes, and Paul.
Hi, Chad. Thanks for joining us this morning. I think my question is more on standards, the standards of practice right now. Do you think these standards that we are under right now are still relevant to the world that we live in today? You know, just considering some of these new and crazy ideas in terms of new products that come in. Do you think the standards are helping, or do you think they are hindering the processes or progress? If I put it that way.
It's a good question, I think. And also to fuel you in your 6-pass description, you see there are some information you can grab here for the 6-pass description.
Yeah, no, 100%. Just to elaborate on Umpo's question pertaining to standards, I just wanted to further inquire what sphere he's referring to. Is it within the water, waste, energy type of standards? I just need more or less a generic description.
I think it's more of you know, of an like overall, because I think every industry that we have, especially in construction or buildings, each and every one of those scopes would have certain standards, would have standards of practice. So I think this was more of a generic question, just overall.
Yeah, important to answer that. If you compare our standards that we comply to in comparison to international, like European or our American counterparts, I think we are quite significantly behind in terms of that. There's been substantial developments in terms of technological platforms within the spheres that basically could look at fast tracking. So I think the standards we currently adhering to is quite backdated, and it would be a good idea if we could actually fast track that.
Oh, no, that answers my question. Thanks.
So great. Thanks a lot, Chad, for your time and this introduction. So we will see you soon in about 1 month for the ideation to be fueled with your inside with your ideas about the time trends. So thanks a lot.
Not a problem, Alban. I think just to follow up, in conjunction with the information I will send you
Yeah, sure.
with regards to the references, I think it would be a good idea if I would send you more or less a portfolio, basically describing the industries I serve and basically where we
sure.
add value.
You know, you are on the platform. You have registered the platform, so you can share on the chat. You can share anything on the platform also. In any case,
Great.
But of course, I will be glad to transmit all your information. I think it's very relevant for all the participants.
Great. Thanks, Alban. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Chad. See you
Thanks,
soon.
Chad.
Have a nice day.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. So I will share my screen here. So as we said, as you remember, what is key also to create your new market, the non-customers, and also to have this double action, simplification, we call it low cost, reaching this low cost approach, and diverging and differentiation, low cost and differentiation. So it means elimination, reduction, to be able to raise some elements, some value elements, some features you remember in the value curves you have drawn, and to create maybe new ones. Creating means it's unique. It means you are proposing unique elements compared to the competition or any other solution. And the key deliverables will show all these elements in one slide, in one page. Your red ocean industry, your industry perimeter you have chosen with standard offering, and what you have eliminated, reduced, raised, created, with which non-customer, non-users you have been inspired by. The process, you remember, this first step. Now we are entering the second step, exploration. You have normally, for now, strategic canvas as is ready, and you have your, you will have today, ideally, your list of interviewees, which profile which non-customers you will have an interview with. And next step will be exploration. So you will conduct these interviews and you will get what we call utility map by your user utility map. And then we'll have this ideation using the 6 paths. So you are already started to describe the 6 paths. And Chad, Lawrence, Chad and Hendrik, they will fuel you with some ideas, some description about the time trends for these 6 paths also. It will be after the exploration, so it's in about 1 month. And then you will build your new offering. Yeah. And you will draw a new strategic canvas, certainly very different from the first one, from this as is. It will be the 2B. And you will redefine, based on your understanding you will get from the exploration, you will redefine what is the value you should bring on this industry. And then, of course, you can see business plan, market validation, prototyping, design thinking, and so on, MVP, and minimum viable product, the lean startup product. It's all these methodologies your coaches from your incubators, they know very well, and they will support you. And also prototyping with Chad and Hendrik, experimentation with the cities. So, yeah, it's very key also step, but it's when you are ready with a very clear and very impactful new offering with this blue ocean market creation. Okay. The 6 paths, you remember, Jason has introduced to you last time, as the last session, all of these 6 paths you should now describe. You can have a full continuous process to describe these 6 paths. Remember these time trends, as we said, what is coming in the 10, 20 years, 10, 20 next year, what is coming in terms of new uses, new technologies, new offerings, new things. evolution of the society, everything. Alternative industries, all these other industries proposing a very close offering in terms of experience or values. The strategic group, so all your competition grouped in based on their strategy. So for the transportation, you remember it can be the group of public transport and the group of car transport. So decision chain, all these influencers, prescribers, decision makers, and you will now have a look on what are their issues, what is their experience. Complementary products and services, all these products and services used simultaneously with the standard offering of your industry. For instance, the screen protection for your mobile phone. So it's complementary product to this mobile phone industry. Emotional and functional appeal, of course, this understanding of what is bringing emotion, what is bringing functionality in your industry, what are these describers in your industry in terms of emotion, in terms of functionality. Emotion, as we said, it's all about risk, all about image, your image, image of the customers, all about environmental and social considerations. And functional, it's all about money, saving time, simplicity, convenience. Okay. So in our process, we are now here, but we will start next time in 1 week. 9th of December, we'll start the exploration. You will be conducted interviews. So we are, as we said, we are here this 2nd of December session. Today, what you will have to do in the workshop session, it's to finalize the profiling of your non-customer, non-users, people who are excluded. So you will have to list clearly the most precise as possible list of targets you want to have in your interviews. And the cities will help you on that. So first you need to write a list, the more precise as possible, and we will share this list to the cities so they can maybe support you and give you some contacts or some way to contact these people. But first, yeah, and that's why we have this week from today to the 9th of December to share this list. So please, if possible, today or tomorrow, send to me or Jason or your coaches this list. You will see it's an Excel file you can generate with the platform. So we can have time to share this list with the cities, and they can provide you some contacts. And also today you continue describing your 6 paths. Okay, you already started. So we are here. We have already done all of that. It's checked, and today, so it's what I've described: non-customer, non-user profile and description of the 6 paths. The coaches also are here, so I will not come back on that. So now your normally your strategic advice finalized as is and commented. You have to list your non-customer and to list and to profile them, so with the most details as possible. So we'll share with the cities, as I said. And your 6 paths is under description. Okay, so here we have some feedback from Etiquani. We already have City of Trene and Cherbourg insight. Now we have some insight just received by Etiquani. I don't know if Nkululeko or Jean-Luc, you are here, and Nkululeko, if you want to share this insight, priority identified by the Etiquette municipality in Durban? No, okay. So you can see here what they shared with you. It's two considerations they have: the regional representations, so north, central, south, and inner city, and the access to internet everywhere for everybody. In key priority industries, agriculture, so it's good, Itumeleng. Your project can be interesting for them. Waste and sanitation, as we said, water management also, it's the same. Maritime, you know, they're on the coast. They're the only, Durban is the only city here with city of Trinidad and Tobago on the coast. And manufacturing. Manufacturing, I think it's mostly also for employment. Okay. So if you have any question about this or you need more details, you can contact Jean-Luc or Nkulu Leko. They are both coaches in the Baobab Makerspace incubator. You know, you see on the platform, you can contact anybody, any participants directly. So 6 past description by the entrepreneur. So we are quite short on time, but maybe we can have one, at least one group who would like to share this 6 past description. Maybe some group who has quite some questions, maybe, or need some reactions from the group, has maybe made a lot of new descriptions compared to last time. Which group would like to share now is a 6 past description? We will have time for only one group, sorry. This time we'll share more on the sharing time this afternoon, because it will be also 6 past and profiling the interviewees. Which group would like to share?
Hi, Alban.
Hi, Jean-Luc.
I think it'd be fantastic if Siboniso and myself could share our 6 past.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's very early stage and there's a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah. You want me to share my screen and show your project, or you want to share your screen?
If you can share your screen and just we'll navigate with you.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I go here on the screen. Sorry. So tell me which project, the name of your project?
Dashgo.
Dashgo. Yes. Where is it? Dashgo Africa. Here it is. So you maybe you want to refresh us about the industry and.
Yes, in essence, it's a waste management intermediate technology. So we'd like to see, in terms of the industry, it's the problem that's being caused is landfills are filling up. And so for municipalities, landfills are filling up, and we want to create a way for citizens in the community to divert waste themselves using an intermediate technology to reduce the amount of waste that goes into landfills. This can be better communicated on this sheet, but I think Siboniso and I are going to hopefully work on that shortly.
So you want to remind us about the non-customers, maybe?
So the people who currently, well, I think it's great to start with who does use this, who has been early adopters. If you consider most vegans or socially conscious people who separate their waste and recycle, and those are people that currently do use it, but we'd like to see that expand where the middle class and informal settlements are able to also separate waste and therefore reduce the amount of waste that goes to landfill. So our non-customers are currently the middle, you can see it in that sheet, it's the middle class apathetic citizens who do not separate and who do not compost their biodegradable waste. And one of the reasons why the major non-customer that we really want to serve is the informal settlements who don't get the best municipal service delivery, and often waste is dumped and creates something that's not aesthetically pleasing, but also creates a bad smell in the area. And so by introducing a home composting system, we hope to reduce that and also reduce landfill disposal.
Okay, I see you have described key needs. Some of the group have thought about which key needs of the non-customers they have in mind. And as you understand, the buyer utility map here, you see, it will be used for the exploration. It's a key deliverable from your exploration, and it will bring you maybe some confirmation about your understanding, or maybe it will open to very hidden things, very new things. You can here complete or change, because this key needs understanding will be maybe evolve a lot. But it's good you already think about it. You want to share this also with us?
I think the main key need of non-customers is because of often the lack of service delivery from the likes of Durban Solid Waste or just the incapacity to serve informal settlements. The real key need of the non-customers is waste independency. So if they can create a circular economy working with urban farming where all biodegradable waste is diverted and used to compost and grow vegetables that they get access to, then they become waste independent. And so yeah, the key need for non-customers is that.
And also to complete, I see Itumeleng has shared a question about business waste office parks. Of course, you can consider also companies or any industries.
Yes.
Who would like to also have this.
Definitely.
Okay, in the non-customers maybe also. Okay, and your 6 pass?
The 6 pass definitely needs further development, but we have tried to just touch on each of the 6 path descriptions as best we can. But I know we want to add at least another 3 to 5 elements per path.
Yeah, ideally at this step today, at the end of the day or tomorrow, ideally each group, each project should have something like 10 rows for each each of the 6 parts as an average, not an obligation. So here the group who have some ideas to share with Jean-Luc's team and Baobab Makerspace about time trends on this waste management industry. You have some ideas to fuel them. For instance, for the time trend in waste management, as we said, there is this new plastic, this reuse of the waste in the construction. It's clearly a time trend in terms of technology, and also this people are maybe more educated about waste management and about recycling, about it's time trend also, this education level regarding waste management, recycling, reuse. Can add here. Yeah. The group, do you have some the group, do you have some other ideas? about time trend who want to share? Feel free to open your mic and share.
Yeah, but it would be fantastic to get some feedback from the group on how they see us aiding informal settlements in creating a circular economy where there's less waste and what waste there is gets diverted, recycled, upcycled, and less lands in the landfill, and the impact that could have.
Alternative industries. So
I definitely would like some help, Alban, here, because this was a specific path that I struggled to communicate more insight into.
Yeah, in terms of alternative industry, alternative solution, there are several to the waste. They can waste management. They can, as we said, most of these alternatives, the solutions, they throw the waste anywhere, throwing the waste.
Yes.
So because it's more simple,
yeah,
and less expensive.
Less expensive to them, and I think a part of the process is, but it's more expensive to the planet if we don't do it properly. But that's
maybe something like that. Which other alternative do you think about the group? Feel free to share. Yeah. Maybe we'll come back to you during the workshop, Jean-Luc. But Itumeleng, do you have some ideas here?
I mean, I think it's what we already written down. Because I'm thinking, I mean, why do the non-customers use this alternative solution? I think, like you said, I would have split that, maybe saying that it saves them time, so they don't have to sort through the rubbish. And I'm thinking here, like, you know, waste from either from schools or from businesses in the townships where they don't have to sort out the plastic. So it's much easier to just put everything together in one bag and throw it out. And also it saves them time. I think the convenience, maybe I would have elaborated more on that. Like, what do I mean by the convenience? Is convenience of time and which cost money. So I think it's sort of both ways in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be used, as you said, in the township, like plastic and everything, to to protect everything. So there are some ideas here, yeah, in terms of alternative and strategic group.
There's a comment.
Yeah.
There's a comment in the chat.
Yes.
I think we got it. Yeah.
Have yard space to keep. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Some don't even have yard space to keep and process waste.
I think that's probably the best question, and it hits to the heart of what we want to achieve. Is we want to make it convenient for people to they won't have to compost themselves. They'll just collect the biodegradable waste, and we will, as an offering, collect the biodegradable waste bins every 2 to 6 weeks, because they actually don't. Once they fill up, we'll collect. And And so they don't have to compost in their homes themselves. That's exactly the problem we want to solve, is that most people don't have the space. They're in apartments, or they're in an informal environment where they don't have space. And we want to make it as convenient as possible to collect and do the composting ourselves. But Peme, that's exactly the problem, is that they don't have yard space and they can't process the waste.
Yes.
So that's a great problem statement.
Yeah. Strategic group, waste and urban farming and restaurant. Yeah, you can. So each group is, as you said, picker.
Good morning, everybody. Can I just ask a question?
Yes, yes.
I think I probably missed what type of product you actually want to market. But I think in terms of waste management, solid waste management in general, the question is, why do people not recycle? And I see, like, for example, you say the middle class is apathetic, etc. But I think a lot of times people just don't understand the value. Yes.
We lose you.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. The question is, why do people not recycle to start off with? And a lot of times people are just, it's inconvenient if you don't have like the containers for different waste products. And also people don't understand the value of recycling, or recycling basically. So there's a lot of education that needs to go into it, not only like across the different groups, and also to make it convenient by supplying the different bins for the different recycling products. It was just a comment.
I agree. I think that's a great comment. There's a huge educational element to waste and circular economy thinking.
And also one can consider
was the alternative. Sorry, Judith.
No, I just wanted to say, and I know it's not probably part of this session, but one can consider offering incentives to people to actually do waste management. It doesn't have to be a lot. You can give them airtime or something.
Great idea, Judy.
Okay.
Sorry. I absolutely love that idea, and that's actually one of the central aspects of what we've been exploring outside of, as a result of Blue Ocean. We've investigated a voucher issuing platform called Zalto, and we are hoping to, if you do drop off or drop off your waste, you get a food voucher for vegetables.
Awesome.
And urban farming vegetables, so vegetables that have been grown in the urban environment or city. We've got an incredible case study in Durban, in the Elangeni, just behind Elangeni hotel, where vagrants have been living during the lockdown, and they started a food garden and have been selling the vegetables. And I thought that's exactly the type of thing that we need more of. Is it created employment, it created food security, and if you could create a market for more middle class families to buy their vegetables from informal run urban farms, and connect that with your waste to get a discount, that something special could happen.
John, look, I was just thinking now, sorry to hammer home this point about businesses, because I'm thinking in informal settlements or even in townships, you do have schools and small businesses. And I'm just wondering how much waste is coming from those enterprises and sources compared to household waste, And if we're thinking what Judith has highlighted, that if we create this education programs in schools, if specifically we're talking like primary schools where we teach children and maybe with the school you can provide like some incentive for them to start sorting out the trash from the school, because not all plastic is the same, right? So you still have to sort out the green plastic from the red plastic, from the PVC to that one. So I think maybe that could be an alternative source. You could think about how targeting schools could be a great way to, because then that sort of feeds back into the communities. And when the kids go home, you know, they'll tell their parents, oh, mommy, don't throw the plastic in, you know what I mean? So that could be one way we could think about tackling the education issue. And also, I think schools and small businesses are a great source of waste.
I think that's a brilliant idea. And I hadn't thought of, or we had not thought of incorporating a school education system into the waste, like educating people at schools about waste and actually separating it so that they understand the different waste fractions and what's valuable, what's not valuable. And I think that's a brilliant idea.
And you see, just a very practical, how you can come back. You can come back on each of the elements. You can precise them, complete them. You see, you just click on it and it will. Okay. And also the decision chain. So decision chain, there are a lot to say. Family, teenagers, neighbors, friends. And also in companies, you have in the company decision. You have it's a lot to say, and also maybe office manager, account, CFO. So, a lot to say here. Complementary, yeah, we say trash, containers, composting, school. So emotional and functional. I think it's both. Yeah, it starts with emotion, but it can become, it's mostly, my understanding, it's mostly functional because it's all about time, space, but it can become but it can in the process if the trash, if the waste is not collected, or if you can get some disease because of the waste and things like that, it can become very emotional. Okay. You can come back, you see, as I said, you can share what you think and come back on that and complete later. Okay, it just, it helps you, I hope, Jean-Luc, with your group, with some...
Merci beaucoup.
Welcome. Okay, so let's come back here. So yeah, share my screen. Okay, so we'll share now with Jason. Jason will share with you a case, a BlueCity case regarding Barcelona and the transportation. Of course, to share you more about, to fuel you more about the non-customers. Jason, the floor is yours. You want maybe share your screen, Jason? I cannot hear you, Jason. I'll let you share your screen. Yeah, no, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you now. You want I share or you share? As you.
What am I sharing?
Yeah. The Barcelona case.
Do you have it in front of you?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. You want me to share?
Yes, please.
Share. Here it is. I can give you the control if you want.
And
the control.
Okay. So when we're talking about non-customers, they're kind of the last people we think of because they're not part of us, not part of what we think of. And in the case of this problem that we found in Barcelona was that it just kind of snuck up on us, the fact that cars started taking over. And so the challenge was, is if you look at what we have here, is that the dependency and it's kind of the Americanization of Spain, what happened is that cars took over the city. Tourism went through the roof, as you know. Local pollution was causing an unprecedented amount of early deaths. And it made this center of the city kind of unlivable in a way. So what they did is they started looking back at, well, how was Barcelona formed? And Barcelona was formed in about 10 BC. Of course, there was a population there before, but when the Romans founded it, they built a walled city. And a walled city meant that it's quite confined. So disease, violence, it was just a city that was built upon itself again and again and again. Sorry, I can go back. Well, so what happened was is in 1850, Barcelona broke out of the walled city environment and created the Eixample. The Eixample was based upon something called manzanas, the apples. Each manzana, each apple was in the center. There was a open green area. On the ground floors of the buildings were the local shops. So you can buy food, you can get your leather goods, you can get basically everything all within your manzana. So if you look at it from this way, it was a great place. But over time, it started focusing more and more on automobiles, automobile traffic, less ability to connect in public transportation. So as you see here, the as is, this is about 2010, the focus was mostly on more and more cars. Bike lanes, park area, completely diminished. The PT connections is public transportation connections between subway and bus, for example, completely diminished. So as you see here, over time, the percentage of green spaces reduced from 30% of the area to 0.6%. Private vehicles accounted for just 20% of total movement in the city, and yet they occupy 60% of roads. The amount of exposure to local air pollutants was through the roof. And generally speaking, the WHO says that about 3,000 people die earlier than they should in the city center because of this local pollution. So this foundation that I've worked with in the past, they started trying to figure out what could be a new strategy for Barcelona. And as you'll find, sometimes the best strategy is undoing what you're doing. And this is what's called superblocks, even in Spanish called superblocks. And in Catalan, superilles. It is going back to the original design of what the city planning was about. And what that is about is essentially focusing on blocking off areas, returning it to its natural state in a way. So if you look here, this is kind of the accepted model today, which was, basically the streets are there for cars, they're there for deliveries, they're there for everything but humans. But what the superblock does is you cannot drive into these areas. You are only allowed to go in as a car if you live there. It is returning it back to its original state, essentially. And so the non-customers here were the city inhabitants, the people who live in the city. And nobody asked, local people, what do they want to do? And so the way they're able to push this through is that they would have referendums and people would vote and they'd say, yes, I want our neighborhood to be blocked off. I want it to be limited in population. I want it to be more about local stores, not big box stores. They've got to get in a car and drive out of the city to go get to them. And so superblocks have really transpired into being a massive force of change in the city. And again, it's all about stopping what we're doing. So looking at the as is and focusing on the to be. So this is what we're reducing, again, by focusing on the non-customer. The non-customer is a local citizen. And the to be is focusing on what the non-customer needs are. And that is living a livable life in an area that has much more freedom, much more access to local markets. And as you see here, the results have been astounding. Freeing up 8,000 square meters in each block when you go to them, you just feel like you're in a different world. You feel like you are in a pueblo, in a small village, but you're in the city center. So they're moving ahead. It's projected at 503 over the next several years. They've already, the returns to the city, they're estimated at 1.7 billion a year, and that's growing with each year that they open up a superblock. So your non-customers, they're hidden in plain sight. They're right in front of you. And the challenge is to uncover them by changing your perspective. And so this is our challenge over the next couple of weeks. And we have a lot of, especially with COVID, there's a lot of fast followers who are doing the same thing because they had to close down the streets during the pandemic. And so they're doing the same thing globally. So that is another way to look at non-customers. The city was focused on the automobile industry, the big merchants, and when they shifted their focus back to their constituents, their citizens, they were able to create something quite magical. So back to you, Owen.
Yes, thanks, Jason. Maybe some question. do we have some question for Jason? And then we'll have a pause, a break. Judith?
Cool. Let's go to a break.
Sorry, Jason. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, my question is, first of all, who was initiating this project, and who is your main customer? Is it the city?
Yes, so the initiator, it's a nonprofit urban planning organization based in Barcelona called the Urban Institute in English. And the client at the end of the day was the city. It was a proposal to the city. And then the city went through, as I said, they had referendums to say, oh, can we go back to the way it used to be? And at the end of the day, the customer is the citizen, it's you know, people of Barcelona.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Now we will share some very classical example of blue ocean strategies, successful blue ocean strategies in the history, and to illustrate some of the we call them the red ocean traps. It's like an overview, to summarize what we have seen from now. Yeah, they are directly it's direct content made by the two writers, Blue Ocean Strategy researchers and writers from the Blue Ocean Strategy Institute, Chen Kim and René Mauborgne. So, as you know, creating these blue oceans, this uncontested market you need to find, it's about moving and having resources, because it's a lot of effort, as you can see. It takes you time, takes you energy, but it can be very efficient and good success. So what are these red oceans anchors we see as traps? There are 6, and most of them are about your mental models, your what we call the blue ocean mindset, or you can get this blue ocean mindset. And I really, if you want to know more also about this mindset, these mental models, you can have a look on what we call blue ocean leadership. On the Blue Ocean Strategy site, there are some elements, and we can provide you with some content about that. You can see it's very interesting and very used. We support a lot of big companies, corporates with this Blue Ocean leadership to change the mindset in the company, to have really blue oceaners, blue ocean people who are able to create this new market, changing their and transforming the way they proceed, the way they manage, the way they produce value in the company. So these 6 traps, salient traps to be considered. First one is, as you remember, to be mass market. So first trap, it's just thinking about so the customer, to be just only customer oriented and having a strategy only oriented on the customer, on the current customers of your industry. So you think that the customer is king or queen, and you will, especially when you do only design thinking, as we said, if you start by design thinking, you will make the perfect offering for the customer, but you will not create a new market, because you will be just focused on the same values, same offerings, and standard things as your customer, as your competitors. So if you remember this famous quote from Henry Ford, if I would have people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. So the customer will not give you the key. It's the non-customers, because they are, as we said, already using alternatives, already out of the industry, already changing their mind. These are to be non-customers. So it's very more interesting for you to know their insights, their pain points, to find this new, to unlock this new value. In this story, you have a very famous example of blue ocean strategy. His name is André Rieu. It sounds French, but it is Dutch. He's a Dutch violin player, musician. André Rieu, he unlocked a huge new market space in the classical music industry when he made it more accessible. He created a non-intimidating orchestra experience. He brought classical music in stadiums. It's not opera theaters anymore or theaters. It's he brought some dancers. He focused on highly accessible, enjoyable repertoire of valse and other very famous piece of music. And he sold more than 40 million albums around the world. He has a very long career. He's very famous in Europe. Second trap is thinking about niche. If you just focus on a piece of the cake, it will be too small, and you be with a very small impact. So you have to create mass market offering. You have to uncover. It's not about uncovering some niche. It's about uncovering a full market, a full industry, and maybe bigger than the industry you are starting from. So it's not segmentations. Remember these value curves in the strategic canvas as is. When they are all the same, low cost, medium, and premium offering, it's segmentation. It's classical marketing. It just sliding, making some slide of the cakes, and you take a slide of that. A slice. You just take a slice of this cake. It's it's about desegmentation. So to create this new market, you need to address the maximum of non-customers and customers. So remember, like for the Wii from Nintendo, these old people, these children, these teenagers, these non-gamers, they are from any groups of marketing groups. So you just think global, overall, big elements. You don't think about slice, think about the full industry. A famous example here, it's Pret-à-Manger. It sounds French again. It's not French, it's British food chain, Pret-à-Manger. They created a new market space of sustained profitable growth in the prepared lunch market. And they did this because they made this desegmentation. They desegmented the three customer segments of this industry, restaurant going, professional, fast food customers, and the brown bag set. And they did it based on their key commonalities, because all these groups, they wanted a lunch that was fresh, healthful, and wanted it as fast as possible at a reasonable price for the lunch. It's desegmentation. Maybe you know about this. It's very successful food chain. The third trap is this techno push. So we said you need technologies to deliver your offering, but you will think about it at the end of the process when you will be clear about the value and the offering you want to propose on your industry. So this technology is just a way to deliver your value. Okay, it's not the starting point. So there are a lot of like this Segway here, you see, maybe this Segway human transporter, they failed because they were just thinking about technology, very sharp, very high-tech product, but not about value. So which value you need to bring to the buyer, to the user. So it makes me introducing you one of the tool and concept we will use for the exploration. We'll start next week. Is this buyer utility map? You can see here, buyer utility map. It's an overview. In columns, you see the steps in the experience. This, we call it the stage in the user experience and buyer user experience. And on the lines, you can see the what we call the utility levels. Okay, it's mostly which utility your offering can bring to your user or buyer. It can be money, it can be time, it can be simplicity, convenience, risk, reduction, fun, image, or environmental friendliness, or ethics. You can see here, when we do a comparison in terms of utility and stage in the experience between Segway and e-scooters, Segway clearly is very bad, where the e-scooter bring a lot in terms of utility, especially here in the simplicity and convenience. All this block here, you can see. It's all about this techno push and value and market driven, value driven. When you think about mobility, transportation, you need something light. You can store while shopping. You can hand carry. You can use. You can bring with you in the car, in the train transport. It's all about the scooter. Segway, it's impossible. Okay, it's because they didn't think about the right offering at the beginning. Maybe the technology is very better. Maybe longer. It's maybe more. I don't know. Yeah, it's a very big battery for Segway. But it's not the priority. Priority for customer, user. It's about simplicity, convenience for this industry. Feel free to interrupt if you have some questions, and also Jason, if you want to complete, of course, feel free to interrupt. Yeah, sure. Another example. Yeah, another example. You all know very well this famous Google Glass. It was the same. Very nice to get accolades, but it was just a mess. It was a mess because it didn't respect the confidentiality. It was at the end, it was forbidden, not allowed anywhere. Everywhere you could not use it because people thought you were always spying them. And yeah, this mobile phone, you see, it's like a Swiss tool, a Swiss knife. You have all what you need in your pocket. It's simple, convenient. It's all about value innovation. It's not complex. There is no technologies because you see how this mobile phone from the beginning, it was just add-ons of a lot of mock-up, like mixing a lot of existing technologies. But it was bringing the right value to innovate, to create this innovation. So it's all the difference, remember, between invention and innovation. Invention, you solve problems, but it's more engineer problems. It can maybe create an innovation, but you don't know. Innovation, it's really changing the rules, bringing a new value. People will have interest to use, and will be using it and changing their habits, creating this new market. Very interesting example. It's French. This one, it sounds French, and it's French. It's GC Deco. They made, their tagline is showcasing the world. Yeah, it's a famous square in Paris called the Place de la Bastille. They create this not inevitably about technological innovation. It's nothing about technology, but they create a very huge international market when they unlock blue ocean in outdoor advertising by providing and maintaining this street furniture you can see here for municipalities in exchange for prime stationary downtown location for ad display. So they bring they maintain the street furniture here, like for the bus, and in exchange they have the space here. They can sell this advertising space, and it's very big business, very huge. And also Starbucks, you can think about Starbucks, they turn the coffee industry on its head by shifting its focus from commodity coffee sales to the customer experience. You enter a Starbucks, you have the sofa, you have the Wi-Fi for free. You have your name on the coffee cup. So value innovation, it's not tech innovation. It's what launched commercially compelling new markets. Successful new products or services open these market spaces by offering this leap in productivity or simplicity or ease of use, convenience, fun, fashion, environmental friendliness. So all about this utility map I've shown you. Okay. Feel free, if you have questions. You can have a look on this GC-Duco. If you don't know, it's a very interesting business and blue ocean space, very big. Trap 4, it's the market creating strategies with thinking that it's equal to have market creating and creative destruction. It's very different. And the most impactful, all these examples we share with you here on from the beginning, they are all creating new space. They are not destructing or disruption. Most of the time we think that in this theory of creative destruction that we need to replace the old by the new. But most of the really impactful and big business created as blue ocean, it's non-disruptive creation. It's not about changing the standards or switching a technology by another one. It's just creating something new without disruption. So you can see Health Club, Viagra, microfinance, life coaching, online dating, they created more than they disrupt. You can it's all about this. All this solution you can think about creating something new. So doing that, they create a new demand. They don't switch the product or an offering by another one or technology by another one. They propose something apart. It will be, and most of blue ocean market space you create, they will stand apart from the competition and from the existing industry. The Wii, when Nintendo creates the Wii market space, it's apart from the video game industry, and you still have video game console like the Sony PlayStation or Microsoft Xbox. They continue. And here you have some examples we were talking about already, like the Wii. So the Nintendo's Wii game player, for example, complemented more than replaced existing game system because the Wii attracted younger children and older adults who hadn't previously played these video games. It's added, it's not disrupted. The same for Viagra. We talk about establish a new market in lifestyle drugs without making any earlier technology or existing product service obsolete. It's just something new value, these lifestyle drugs. And you have also the same for dating apps like Tinder. They just bring something new. And Nintendo Switch, it's the portable, like the following, the next stage of the Wii. You make it portable with always the same values and same utility. So commercially compelling new markets are at least as much, if not more, about non-disruptive creation as they are about disruption. So, and the trap number 5, it's thinking that market creating, it's only differentiation. So you are not stuck in this trade-off between value and cost. It's not about high price bringing high value. Remember, it's more with the segmentation on the strategic canvas. Higher is your curve, higher you bring value, higher you have price. No, it's about changing this rule. So it's bringing a differentiated value for buyers at a lower cost for your company. So it's about breaking this rule of value cost trade-off. And you have a famous example with Tesla. Tesla, you know, of course, the founder, Elon Musk, who is South African by origin, successful as Tesla. They were very successful in the large luxury segment, creating this electrical vehicle for the industry, but they still, for instance, in the US, their overall luxury segment takes up 10% of the total automobile market at best, and Tesla is just stuck in that. So they know, and they are doing this movement to be more low cost, more accessible to everybody. To achieve this promise to electrify the automobile industry, they need to very significantly lower the sticker price and cost of the vehicle. Until it does, it won't open up an expensive blue ocean of new opportunities. Okay. And the last trap, it's thinking that it's only about low cost strategies. If you bring only low cost or lower price with lower value, it's not a good compromise. As we said, it's all about bringing simultaneously this differentiation and the low cost. So you differentiate your offering and you reduce the cost and mostly maybe the price. It's your decision to clearly differentiate your offering with an impact. So it's divergence. We call it divergence. So here you have several examples. You know, maybe some of them. One of the most famous in the Blue Ocean strategy history is the Cirque du Soleil. They did that instead they bring this both differentiation and low cost simultaneously in the circus industry. iPhone did the same in the smartphone industry. Dyson did it in the vacuum cleaner. Even when companies do successfully create new markets at the low end, they're offering also a clearly differentiated, all differentiated and low cost offering. Salesforce, for instance, Salesforce.com, they stand out for its ease of deployment, flexible subscription terms, hassle-free maintenance, and ubiquitous access. The same here for IKEA. They appeal to millions of people around the world with their standardized, stylish, and easy to assemble furniture of reliable quality and family embracing store environment with the restaurant and everything. Judith, yeah, you raise your hand.
Yes, Alba, just wanted to make sure you say differentiation and low cost, but if you're looking at the iPhone in general is more expensive than your other smartphones. So I'm not sure why do we have it here, or maybe you can just explain to me.
No. I will have a look on all the portfolio of iPhones. You will see they do their best to have always accessible iPhone at the middle price of the industry. You know,
okay, I understand.
This range. Yeah, of course, the last version with the bigger screen, it will be expensive, but all the range of iPhones, they are.
It's like your entry one.
Yeah.
The low, the more simpler one. Okay.
And of course, now Apple with the iPhone, it's more in the most classical approach of the marketing. They create an industry market space, a Blue Ocean market space. When they launched, it's
Yeah.
Maybe 20 years ago, the iPhone. When they create the iPhone, it's a blue ocean. With time, 20 years after this launch, it's they are using more classical marketing with segmentation, especially. That's why they have all this range of products. But at the beginning, when they started, it's almost the same price as a classical smartphone at this time. But they bring this, they create what they create. It's this iTunes store, iTunes, this app store, this application store, where you can have any application, any service in your phone by your desire. You just switch with independent developers proposing any game, any apps. And it was very new. It didn't exist at this time.
Yes.
20 years ago. This is what they create, this app store. And also they raised it and created this at this time, 20 years ago, it's a long time. They created this experience, this online experience on the mobile. It didn't exist before. It was not easy. You had to go on special sites only for mobiles and so on. Here, you can browse any internet site, you can access any internet site on your mobile phone. It was very new, especially using this touch screen. But it was already existing technologies, but they made the right selection to deliver this new value, to create this market. It's okay to answer your question?
Yes, I'm happy. Thank you.
Some other question, maybe feel free to ask. So it was the last trap we wanted to share. So it's, as we said, have this alignment of your mental models with the market creating strategies. Be sure that you check your mental models. And if they are misaligned with your intended strategic purpose, you need to challenge, question, and reframe. That's why all this group sharing time, all this exit doors, like the 6 paths, like the engineers coming here, or from Veolia, or from inside from the cities, and all this mix and group sharing and your reactions is very key, because it makes you having this open mind, being ready for something new. It's all about mental model. Okay. Some questions about these traps, these examples. I will continue on the workshop. Introduce the workshop. It's okay. So the workshop, it's as we said, continuation of the 6-path description, and bringing more details about your interviewees. You will conduct interviews with in the next month. So you have 1 month to have these interviews, and we'll start this exploration in 1 week. On the 9th, the next session, the next main session, the 9th of December. So let me, we have a question on the chat. Easy to assemble, not careful, maybe a joke from Itumeleng. You need to read the explanations on when the notice they give to you. Also, there are very nice YouTube video tutorial to be supported on that, in complement to assemble the furniture. So let me share here. So the workshop we'll have here, it's 6 paths, you know. Yeah. So, for instance, yeah. So 6 paths is exactly what we were discussing with Jean-Luc previously. So you have this description of 6 paths. You have also in the content we have shared from the last session all these explanations and definitions of the 6 paths. You can also refresh your understanding on that. If you don't have this content, feel free to ask, and we'll share with you. The content we have shared by email last time, but if you don't have, please tell us. And what you will do now, it's give details here on these profiles of non-customers. You see, you can click on it and give more details. Vegans, okay, what exactly, which names of vegans in my environment, in my family, in my friends. You will be in a Christmas vacation. It's the best moment to ask questions, to conduct these interviews with your close people, with maybe people who are this apart from this profiles, non-customer profile. So which names, you need to be very more precise here. Which names, which name of companies, people. And here you have this feature, you see export. You can export your current list in an Excel file, okay? With this button here, export. You will here save as a file, as an Excel file. And here you can generate this Excel file to give more details. Here, so which name, as we say, which contact email and so on. You have so more details. The more details you can bring here, the best it is. And we'll maybe details about the profile. Okay, bring all details you can, because it will be your target list, the people you will target for your interviews. And we will, and also I think here for this example, non-customer here, maybe Jean-Luc Group can complete this list with more. I think you can find even more non-customers profile. And this Excel file you will generate here, you will have on the next week to complete. But in this week, please, before the 9th of December, share it with us, send it to us by email, so we can share it with municipalities, and they will maybe be able to give a hand in putting you in contact with these people, or giving you a communication tool or something, a place where you can contact them to conduct your interviews. So it's very important to do it, to start it now, ideally to have a first list today, at the end of the day. We share, of course, at the sharing time, your list, and give more details you can, okay, in this Excel file. So today is a workshop. It's if you have not yet finalized the strategy Canva and all the descriptions at the beginning, you can finalize it. We will be supporting you on that with the coaches, and it's your objective to give really details on the targets you have to conduct interview with, and also this 6 paths. Ideally, if you can have at least 10 lines, 10 rows for each pass, it will be great at this step. You will continue, of course, it's a continuous process to fuel this list of 6 paths, and it will be very useful, because this 6 paths and the result of your exploration, you see here you have the buyer utility map. This you see, you will be using this for your exploration. We'll explain it next week. That you recognize what I shared with you about the e-scooter and the Segway. So using this result of exploration and this 6 paths, it will be the best way to generate the best strategies here in the ideation part. That's our next step in 1 month. Do we have questions? complements question. Jason, maybe you want to add something?
No, everything's clear to me.
Okay.
Alba?
Yes?
Yes, I have a question. I wanted to ask, is it possible that Jason can go through the description of the 6 paths again? Because I found that some of us just doesn't have clarity around it. And so if you maybe seeing that we still have a little bit of time before.
Sure. Just go to the slides. I have them in case you have this question. Yeah. Or maybe just you have. I don't.
Can pull it up.
You have them? Yeah. You want to share your screen? I can't find them. I thought I had them ready here, but just need to go into previous session content. Here they are. I have them here if you want. PDF. We share.
I have them available.
If you I've just shared. You want to? If you want, I give you the control. Yeah.
Okay. So what we're looking at is that with the 6 paths, we're challenging our idea of what we do, how we do it, and who we do it for. And it comes back down to the basic principles of what, how, who, where, why, when. We organize ourselves in this way as a producer of goods and services in the same way, based on industry, strategic group, buyer group, moment of use, whether we're functional or emotional, and when do we deliver it, meaning time. So the 6 paths is to push through that idea of what we benchmark ourselves on. And as I've described, is that we started looking for patterns across these alternatives of how we make choices. So this is the we example, for example. Again, on customers, we've been through this several times. It's those who are okay with us, but would prefer something different. Those who refuse us, who say that we're not going to take you. And those who just have no idea what we have to offer. And so the first path is focused on, instead of focusing on our rivals, we ask, so this is what I did with Yellowtail wine. So we didn't focus on wine drinkers, we focused on beer drinkers. So what do they focus on? Why do they turn to an alternative? And their alternatives were, number one, was beer, ready-made cocktails, spirit drinks, what have you. But the most important question was why? And the why here became very, very important And the why here was mostly consistency. I know what I'm going to get with each beer. So why can't we create that with wine? So it's a what and a why. So here I was working with the East Africa Brewery, and people trade down in Kenya, they trade down to Changa, Kill Me Quick. And what would they trade up to? They trade up to Tusker. So how can we bring the two together? And it was creating a beer that hit the right utility at the right price, and then we got the cost structure correct. And his name is Senator because at that time, the one thing that united all Kenyans was Senator Barack Obama. And now it's, yeah, it's the most sold beer in Kenya. And so we're trying to focus on what do people trade up, what do people trade down, and how can we make it better? Across buyer groups, there's always a purchaser. So if we're looking at vitamins, person who needs vitamins for the children, so we focus on the parent. You know, how do we sell it to the parent? But then if we should focus on the user, okay, how do you make the vitamins more palatable to the user? Or do we focus on the influencer, the doctor who says you should have these vitamins? So that is that. And here we're shifting our buyer group. Worked in a hotel chain for a number of years, and we were always wondering why they would have conferences at this hotel. So it would be 99% full during the week because of conference, but in the weekend it went down to less than 10%. And so we thought about, well, how do we look at the influencer? Who influences the business goer to going to a conference? Well, it's the family. So it's the spouse, it's the kids. And so reinvented the hotel to create a hotel for the influencer, not for the user. The user was a business person who's going to a conference. So we focused on the influencer and recreate the hotel into what became, well, now it's called, you know, it's Western Kids. So it's focusing on those who influence your decisions. Path 4 should be very familiar because of, you know the buyer experience cycle. It's looking at the pain points around the delivery of your offering. So what other offerings can alleviate the pain points? That's what we're going for here. And it's looking at the entire life cycle of your interaction with the offering. Here we're looking more at, are you functional or are you emotional? You know, here, you know, as I did before, I explained how most businesses are focused on either being very functional or very emotional. A Japanese hairdresser is very emotional. It costs a lot of money. It's very focused on giving you lots of time and hot towels, massages, etc., etc., etc. And QB House came around, and you can be in and out in 10 minutes. That's what most customers wanted, but could never describe it. The final one is time. And time is basically trying to understand, how do we shape the future? So this example was, as I explained before, it's working with a mining company in Australia, and we're trying to figure out what is their core capabilities, what's the core competencies, and it's basically keeping things running. And so we shifted the time aspect. Instead of just focusing on mining, focusing on wind power, solar power, maintaining all of these machines that give us clean energy. And that was the time aspect. So I hope that satisfied you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Some question maybe for Jason about the 6 paths.
Hi, Jason. I'm still struggling a little bit with the time aspect of it. Are we supposed to think about where the industry is now and how it's evolving, and sort of that's what it means simply? Because in the example, I didn't quite understand. So there's this mining company, and they're thinking about green energy.
It's a very good question. And this is the most problematic path for me, because I was a scenario planist. I used to do scenario planning for the future. And you're not trying to plan for the future, you're just trying to shape it a bit, if you can, in this path. So what we're looking at is big changes, demographic changes, environmental changes, which are much longer than the industry or society accepts. So if we're looking at, for example, GMOs, does society accept GMOs anymore? Okay, maybe they just don't care. Well, how can we shape that? How can we shape it so that people care about, the food that goes into their bodies? That's what we're trying to get at here. We're trying to, there's an issue here, and, if you just tilt it a little bit, it can go in your favor. And a lot of this happens, the people I work with, a lot of it happens, legislatively, working with governments, working with international institutions to shape the rules of the game. That's what we're trying to get at with the time component.
So it's changing future perceptions of the industry or the product that you're offering to increase.
Okay. It's more about what would be the influence in the future on your industry, on your society, in the uses, and what would be this? Will it be clear trends or unclear? And will they have an impact on your environment, on where you are evolving in your industry, or the way people think, the way people live? You see, it can be society trends. It can be changing. Okay. It's all this move in 10, 20 years coming. And would they have an impact? And how you can take this trend in advance to propose a new value, matching the key needs you will identify in the equation. And just as a complement about the complementary product and services, it's about value chain. You identify all these products and services used in complement of your standard offering from your industry, like said, screen protection for the mobile phone industry. And you think, okay, or maybe for vacuum cleaners, this bag, Dyson, they think about this industry and this complementary product, which is sold with vacuum cleaners. This bag you need to put in the is if okay, what is the impact if we eliminate this bag? We will integrate this value in our offering if we do that. It's value chain integration. It's typically value chain integration. You integrate a part of the value coming from other industries or other part of the value chain delivered to the customer. Okay. Vinny, you had a question maybe about this XPath?
No question.
Okay. So all is clear. No other question for Jason about the XPath? Oh. Is okay. So now it's time for the workshop. Okay, it's 12. So we'll meet again at 4 p.m. for the sharing time session. And of course, your objective is today at this workshop to verify that you are on track, all is ready on your project, especially here on the strategic Canva as is, and you have to be very good in the description, very detailed in the descriptions of your non-customer targets, all this, and you can generate, as I shared with you, you can generate this Excel file to give details. We need these details, and you will send this Excel file to us when it's ready, and you can we can share it with the municipalities, and they will give support to you to reach these people. It's very key to be ready for your exploration, to have a list of people you will interview. Okay. And the XPath also, you can continue. It's a continuous process about the XPath description. But today, one of the key deliverable is to be ready on this list of interviewees you will have for 1 month in your interviews, exploration interviews. Do you have question about the workshop, about this deliverable? All is clear?
Abba, I don't have a question about the workshop. I just wanted to find out in our last discussion on Monday, we said excuse me, the coaches can jump from one.
Yes, one group to another group, yeah, to support entrepreneurs. You are all moderator, so it means you can jump, you can see all the projects on the platform. All the coaches can see all the projects. So you just click on the project and you can see it.
Okay. So we can decide our own terms of engagement, how long I'm going to stay, etc., etc.
Yeah, and you can visit. You can visit and ask questions, propose
great.
your support. Okay, so now I will.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now I will create the groups. Okay, the Zoom room. The conference room. So please give me the name of the room you need.